Dear CAT aspirants, in this session we will be solving one RC passage. ഈ RC passage CAT 2024 വന്ന ഒരു ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ആണ്. സോ നമുക്ക് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യനിൽ ഈ പാസേജ് വായിക്കുന്നതിന് മുന്നേ നമുക്ക് ജസ്റ്റ് ഈ ഒരു RC പാസേജും അതിൻ്റെ ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും ഒന്ന് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒന്ന് ഓടിച്ചു നോക്കാം മീൻസ് ജസ്റ്റ് കണ്ണോടിച്ചു നോക്കുക മാത്രം. ഡോണ്ട് സ്പെൻഡ് മച്ച് ടൈം, just to get an idea of what the passage is about. So let's do it. It says about some craftsmanship, yes, and it emphasis on individual judgment, and it's against some management studies, efficiency, consistency, and some movements, mass-produced device, markets, yes, quality product, support local workers, job far more satisfying, agile work, and what else, regulatory hoops, demand for crafted products, medieval craft skills, crafts workers. Yes, we got some idea. It's about some craftsmanship. Okay, so now let's yeah, ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസും കൂടി നമുക്കൊന്ന് ഓടിച്ചു നോക്കേണ്ടതായിട്ടുണ്ട്, സോ ദാറ്റ് വി ക്യാൻ ഫോക്കസ് ഓൺ ദോസ് പാർട്ട് വൈ റീഡിങ് ദ പാസേജ്. ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണെങ്കിൽ ഇതാണ് ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ്, 4 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് ആണുള്ളത്. ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ 2 ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. സോ വി ക്യാൻ ഇൻഫർ ഫ്രം ദ പാസേജ് ദ medieval craft skills. Just the question മാത്രം, don't read the options. And which statement is not inconsistent. It says about different statements are there. At that time we can move on to the passage and see if the option concerned cheyidittulla idanengil. Okay, now next third question. The question, the ability of crafts to create substantial employment opportunity presently becomes most recent revival in interest in the crafts as a result of emergence. So these are the questions. Now moving on to the passage. After reading each paragraph, we will be writing some keywords of the paragraph so that we can get an clear idea. Okay, so we are reading. The idea of craftsmanship is not simply nostalgic. Crafts require distinct skills, an all-round approach to work that involves the whole product rather than individual parts, and an attitude that necessitates devotion to the job and a focus on the communal interest. The concept of crafts emphasizes human touch and individual judgment. Okay, this is the first paragraph. So from this paragraph, what and all we got, like it's about craftsmanship. It's having 3 type of things. One thing is focus, and the other thing is like attitude, and the other thing is like all-round approach, like that. Okay, that's it. Now moving on to the next paragraph. Essentially the crafts concept seems to run against a preponderant ethos of management studies, which as the academic note have long prioritized efficiency and consistency. Craft skills were portrayed as being primitive and traditionalist. Okay, now in the second paragraph, it says about some management study kind of thing. Management study which focus on consistency and efficiency, and this thing is in turn against craftsmen. Okay, against craftsmen. Here some words are given, like unfamiliar words are given, maybe preponderant ethos and all. Those are kind, if we don't know the meaning also it's fine, we can get the meaning from the context. These words are not that relevant here. Preponderant means something dominant or something like that. Ethos means some value or principle. Okay, now moving on to the next paragraph. The contrast between artisanship and efficiency first came to the fore in the 19th century when British manufacturers suddenly faced competition from across the Atlantic as firms developed the American system using standardized parts. The worldwide success of the Singer Sewing machine showed the potential of a mass-produced device. This process created its own reaction, first in the form of arts and crafts movement in the late 19th century, and then again in the small is beautiful movement of the 1970s. A third crafts movement is emerging as people became aware of the environmental impact of conventional industry. So it says about how there occurred began on contrast between artisanship and efficiency. It first came arise when a mass-produced device was manufactured. Okay, and after that, as a reaction to this, some arts and crafts movement were there in 19th century. The small is beautiful movement, and also it says that crafts movement is something like made the people aware of the environmental impact of the conventional industry. So in the third para it says about the how it the contrast originated. Contrast contrast means crafts versus efficiency contrast. Okay, it emerged as a result of the mass-produced device, some mass-produced device. Okay, so then some movements arised, some movements against as a reaction to this arised, and environmental impact of this was there. So these are the things in the third para. Moving on to the fourth para, there are two potential markets for those who practice crafts. The first seems from the existence of the consumers who are willing to pay a premium price for the goods that are deemed to be extra quality. The second market lies in those consumers who wish to use their purchases to support local workers or to reduce their environmental impact by taking goods to craftspeople to be mended or recycled. So in the fourth para, it says that there are two types of markets. Okay, first one emphasis on this extra quality, and the second one is support to local workers. Support to local workers. Okay, support to local workers. And moving on to the next para, for workers, the appeal of craftsmanship is that it allows them the autonomy to make creative choices and thus makes a job far more satisfying. In that sense, it could offer the overall labor market. Let the machines automate dull and repetitive tasks, and let workers focus purely on skills, judgment, and imagination. As a current example, the academics cite the Agile manifesto in the software sector, an industry at the heart of technological change. The pioneers behind the original Agile manifesto promised to prioritize individuals and interactions over processes and tools. By bringing together experts from different teams, Agile working is designed to improve creativity. So it says about some Agile working. Agile working is something like collaborative or hybrid type of work. Okay, hybrid type of work. About hybrid type of work it's same. Also it says that some satisfying type of job that craftsmanship offers. Okay, the advantages of this craftsmanship and all. And nowadays we are having this agile type of working as in the software sector, and they have cited some examples as well. So that's in the fifth paragraph. Now moving on to the sixth paragraph. But the broader question is whether crafts can create a lot more jobs than they do today. Demand for crafted products may rise, but will it be easy to retrain workers in sectors that might get automated to take advantage? In a world where products and services often have to pass through regulatory hoops, large companies will usually have the advantage. Now the question arises whether this can create a job opportunity, and will it be useful if we retrain the workers who are already doing some automated works such as truck drivers as example. And it also says that there are many regulatory hoops, so those regulatory hoops can be overcome by those large companies alone, and these small companies can't. So it says about some regulatory hoops. So mainly it says about the job that it create regulatory hoops is there, which can be tackled by these large companies alone, and like that it says. Now next final passage, final paragraph. Okay, so history also suggests that the link between crafts and creativity is not automatic. Medieval craft skills were monopolies which resisted new entrants. They were also highly hierarchical, with young men required to spend long periods as apprentices and journeymen before they could set up on their own. By that time, the innovative spirit may have been knocked out of them. Craft workers can thrive in the modern era, but only if they don't get too organized. So the concluding paragraph says about medieval period and all. Medieval period, what happened? They don't allow these new entrants to come to this market, and also they made these young workers to suffer during working, like they make them to work or made them to work for long hours so that they will get exhausted, and after that they won't be having that interest to do some creative job of work. Okay, young men to work long hours. And also it says for the craftsmen to thrive in this modern era, they shouldn't be that organized. Okay, shouldn't be organized. So these are the points we have written from this passage. So mainly it says about the craftsmanship, right? It has three areas, and second paragraph says management, consistency, efficiency are against this crafts, and how when this crafts and efficiency brought a contradictory way of involvement, and when mass produced devices emerged and movements were there, and it also pointed out the environmental impact the convention industry has, and the markets there are two extra quality market, the market which works on extra quality, so the price won't be bothering, prices are not bothered by buyers, and also local to support the local workers there is initial market for this crafts works creatively produced products. Okay, and also the fifth paragraph says some agile hybrid job, and sixth paragraph says about there are regulatory hoops, and seventh paragraph says about the medieval period. So that's it, and now we can move on to our questions. So question number 1, we can infer from the passage that medieval craft skills resembled mass production in that both. So there occurs two things, medieval craft skills and also mass production. They both resembled in both way. First option says did not necessarily promote creativity. Yes, both didn't promote creativity, correct? So that can be included. So, but at the same time we have to see other options as well. Discouraged innovation by restricting entry through strict rules. Both discouraged discouraged entries. Medieval crafts, it says that it discouraged new entrants, but mass production, we don't know, it didn't say like that, and also it didn't mention anywhere that restricting entry through strict rules. This is not mentioned, so we can discard this option. Now next option, did not always employ egalitarian production process. So even we don't know, if we are not knowing this word meaning egalitarian, we can see production process. It didn't say anything about the production process. Egalitarian means equal opportunity kind of production process. Okay, so this can also be discarded. Now option D, focused excessively on product quality. It there mentioned some product quality, but it's in the niche market, but it doesn't say excessively focused on product quality. Such extreme statement is not mentioned, so we can discard this option as well. So the option correct is option A. Now moving on to the next question. Which one of the following statements is not inconsistent with the view stated in the passage? Means which is consistent. We need to support the crafts, only then we can retain the creativity intrinsic to their production. So this is such an extreme option, correct? So we should discard this option. Now next, creativity in the crafts could be stifled if the market for artisan goods become too organized. As you remember, in the last concluding paragraph, it says that if we get too organized, creativity can get some negative impact. So this can be a correct option. Now moving on to the C option, let's see whether it can be why it is wrong. Okay, the arts and crafts movement was initially inspired by American system of production. Now, where it said it got inspired by American system of production, actually it was in reaction to the American system of production. So it is wrong. Now, next option. The agile movement in software is a throwback to the tenets of medieval craft skills. See, agile movement is type of a collaborative type of work which can involve the creativity and also at the same time can work together with the machines. But in medieval craft skills, it says just opposite, contradictory idea of working long hours and all without any creative working. So it's not a throwback. So we can discard this option as well. So the correct option is option B. Now moving on to the third question. The author questions the ability of crafts to create substantial employment opportunity presently because the low scale of crafts production will not be able to absorb the mass of redundant labor. Nowhere it's mentioned that there is a low scale of crafts production. So we can discard this option. Now next option, regulatory requirements could make it difficult to small crafts outfit to compete. So as you can remember, in one of the paragraph it said about the regulatory requirement. We have noted it down as well. So regulatory requirement can only be overcome by these large companies, not by small crafts outfits. So this can be an option. So we can tick now. So we can also see the other option why they are no wrong. Okay. So the option C, workers made redundant by automation are unlikely to opt for crafts or related works. Nowhere it said that when workers get redundant means get bored, they are not interested in crafts related work. So we can discard this option. Now next, crafts will tend to resist new entrants and are unlikely to accept large number of trainees. And in the passage, it's not mentioned about large number of trainees and all by whether they will accept or not. So this can be discarded. Now option B is the correct answer here. And moving on to the fourth option, the most recent revival in interest in the crafts is a result of the emergence of all the following except. Okay, so as we read the first option, support for individual creations as opposed by mass-produced objects. So you might have noted these two words, mass-produced objects and individual creations. But as you can see, as you can think, mass-produced objects were not opposed or not against individual creation or vice versa. Mass-produced objects are also needed. It didn't say like they are not needed or this individual creation opposed them. Okay, so this yeah, so also this is not a result of the emergence. Okay, the recent revival in interest of the crafts. It is not a emerged thing. Okay, so this can be discarded as this is irrelevant. Irrelevant in this context. Okay, next option concerns about the environmental impact of mass production. Yeah, it's I mentioned that environmental impact of mass production and niche market for discerning buyers of quality products. We noted it down as well. This quality products about this quality product and last option a product greater interest in buying locally produced goods. This option can also become so. The correct option is option A, which is support for individual creations. That option. Other are others are all emergent as a resultant thing as a result of. I mean, it is due to the it is the most recent revival in interest in crafts. Okay, those last three options. Okay, so option A is the correct option. Okay, so that's it in this session. See you in next session. Thank you for watching.